Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Flagged Off Podcast. We have a co-founder Gautam here this week who was missing last week. Gautam, how was the interaction with Musk last week?
Had to skip on your guys for a change. Trust me, I was relieved.
But was it worth it, missing the episode?
Not really, bro. I'm happy to be back. Thanks for welcoming me with your warm wishes, as usual.
So Gautam and Shashank, how was your preparation for Halloween? What costumes are you guys doing this year?
No costume.
I'm thinking of Jose Mourinho's old look, bro.
The zero trim with the white hair, is that the old look?
Back to Sporto days, I meant. But anyway, yeah.
Okay, guys, before we get into the episode, I just wanted to ask you guys a small question about yourselves. 2020 has started and it's almost at the end. We don't know how it went by. But I wanted to know, what were the resolutions each of you made this year? We never even had a word on this as friends. So, Shashank, go first. What was your resolution for the year?
Every year I make so many resolutions. This time one of the resolutions I can remember is I wanted to read about like 30 to 35 books this year.
And how many have you done?
2.5 till now.
Bro, you still got more than 31 days, bro.
Gautam?
Bro, I don't try to make them, bro, because I know it's pointless. So it's been a while. It's basically just like how the game was this weekend. You know, you try to do something, but then it just doesn't work out.
Good. Narushan?
No, I went down the Gautam route. I usually do not make any resolutions because I know that, January 1st we make one resolution and by January 7th you're not sticking to that resolution. So what's the point?
Okay, I'm glad to know because even I did not have any resolution. I just went on with it and I'm glad to know three of us are on the same page. Shashank, you can join us next year.
Bro, the only thing is, the only problem being that sometimes we just don't remember the resolutions after January 1st.
So basically, one of the most profitable businesses, you having a workouts or a fitness job at the start of Jan. Everybody will come and pay you. They'll come for 10 days and after that you're free to go with the money. There's no thing that you have to be there for them. So you can consider that in the future any day, guys. Okay, guys. So since we are the VAR-mers, we're going to go straight into the problems with VAR or the decisions made by VAR, and then we'll get into the details of football. So our first topic for the day is a very controversial one, which we know, but we've not seen the reaction of it on social media as much as it should have been. Maybe the boring game overshadowed it. It's the VAR decision on the Maguire handling of Azpilicueta. Gautam, what did you make of that? Did you think, or do you think that really should have been given a penalty, or do you think, okay, it's something that could have been let go, like it has been let go?
For me, the sad part about this whole situation is you trying to ask the question that should VAR has given a decision. The problem is I don't even think they saw it, bro. It was just like, playing, you turn on TVs for your dogs when you're leaving the house. It's technically like that. It's like you coming back and asking the dogs, did you enjoy the show that I put on? It's the exact same thing. I don't think you're going to get a response for certain things. So for me, I'm absolutely frustrated. And I think we talk about this week in, week out. Also, the emphasis on our name being the VAR-mers, I think we give a lot of emphasis to these VAR decisions.
True.
So it was basically like, WWE trying to do a submission move right on his back, bro. So for me, it's an absolute penalty. I don't think anybody would disagree to it. But yes, there has been so much repercussions, specifically when it comes to, people trying to say, different incidents happen during the game. But for me, it's like if one decision is wrong, it has to be consistent. And I just feel like I don't know if they're going to have like a compilation of the wrong decisions that was made by VAR and just invite all these people to a movie theater and just show them, especially these people, like the referees, invite them to the theater and be like, hey guys, this is what you did wrong. This is what you did wrong. Just like the All or Nothing documentary, Mourinho sits down the Tottenham players and be like, guys, this is you. This is you. Also, you are going to concede a shit penalty. And just like that, you're going to position today. So
maybe Mourinho should take up that role. He should compile all the scenes that you were talking about and have a sit down with the referees, and quite possibly that could be a good documentary for Amazon on Netflix to consider.
Bro, Mourinho is an inspiration just like how he is, bro. Like wherever he is, there's just some good enigma behind it. Like for example, he was a pundit for a little period of time.
ITV.
If you go to YouTube or probably even BT Sports or Sky Sports or whatever, like his videos are the most watched videos. Like no matter what, it could be even some stupid things that he says, but it's just that energy behind him. So I believe probably someone like him being part of the referees association would make a change.
But actually, Gautam, on that part which you mentioned, most people actually think that it was not checked. But I still remember that there was a small pause and it said VAR was checking it. So even I do not understand why the decision was made as to not award a penalty. But is this right? I'm just asking you guys. When you watch the video in slow motion, you know, right? They say that everything becomes a penalty. Like everything looks like a foul. I'm not disputing that this was not a foul. It is a foul, yes. But when they watched it on slow motion, like when I watched it on slow motion, what I understood was Maguire was holding on to him like late during the jump, not like pulling or tugging him, or keeping down. And he won the ball. Obviously, he won the ball because he was pushing him down. Do you think that was what influenced the guy to make that decision, Sashank?
I don't know. See, even though we know that sometimes in the penalty box, when there's a ball coming in, there's going to be some contact. It is a contact sport, football as a whole. But the contact in the penalty area is, supervised even more by the referees. But this one was a clean penalty only because what he did was over the top in terms of just tugging him down and then almost like covering him with his arms. So that was like almost last week. Nirushan mentioned it's like NFL. This was like an NFL tackle. So I think those kind of ones, minimal contact, it's different. Whereas this one was like maximum contact from Maguire, so complete opposite.
Okay, but I think I'm just glad to say that it's okay. We'll take one and just be happy that we were lucky to get away with it. Otherwise, another bad result and the season would have been again a bad start from where it suddenly looks decent for United at the moment with the game in hand. So moving on. Sashank, you're the point who will not be biased here. That's what Nirushan said. And Nirushan had a small chat on me about this. What do you think about the disallowed goal in the Arsenal game?
See, that was a tough one because initially when when that goal went in, I thought that was 100% offside and that it's not a goal. But then when you see the replay, whether Xhaka was there or not, because it didn't have an effect on Schmeichel making that save. So, that was, I think, kind of a problem. But if there was no VAR, that decision would have been like not a goal because the linesman flagged offside. But now that they have VAR, it should have been a goal because sometimes in these situations, when you see the reaction of the keeper, the opponent team, you'll know what they feel. And Schmeichel just thought that he conceded a goal. He didn't, even think about Xhaka being next to him, Aubameyang being there.
Okay.
He didn't even think about that. So I think that was a big sign that, it was a goal and it should have stood. But it is understandable why they ruled it out just because Xhaka was like so close to the ball. So I think that's the main, and he was also blocking the line of sight of the goalkeeper. So I think that could be one of the reasons.
Oh, okay. So basically,
what does Nirushan think about it?
Nirushan, are you happy with his response?
The thing is, I'm still confused as to what it was flagged off for. Like, was it offside or was it an an infringement on the goalkeeper's area?
Vision.
Because for the linesman, I think he must have thought it was because given the linesman's point of view, it must have been an infringement. Like as in Xhaka was blocking Schmeichel's point of view. But then when you look at the referee's point of view, you can see that Xhaka is referee in the sense the on-field referee. You can see that Xhaka is nowhere close to Schmeichel, at least when Lacazette hits the ball. VAR, the whole point of VAR was to bring an oversight to certain decisions that cannot be made at that split second.
Correct.
And that's the whole reason why you have VAR. And VAR also comes up with multiple angles. So at one angle, like from the linesman point of view, you thought it was an offside or you thought the player was infringing. That wasn't the case. And when you look at multiple angles, you can see that Xhaka is nowhere near Schmeichel. He's not influencing the play at all. He's doing nothing. He's merely just standing there.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing was, if it was called for an
But actually, the Vardy goal is also like what? It's the first time Leicester have gotten a result at Arsenal in 43 years, I
At
believe.
Emirates, yeah,
I
at the
remember the
Emirates.
commentators were saying something about where it was 1970s, and he was saying how the world was then back then. So that's what it is for Leicester to get that result, and I think that Leicester need that at this moment to also stay in the top six, to be in that conversation of where they can finish for the Champions League places and maybe even the Europa. Anyway, guys, so two VAR decisions, and I think it's the first time all of us have agreed that on one decision, and it's all been against VAR. So let's see how that goes going forward. Now, coming back to the big discussion which was there early on and which we touched about it, but do you think this is when we can finally say that yes, Aston Villa and Everton are just Aston Villa and Everton, or can we expect a little more about them? What are your thoughts, guys? Anybody?
So for me,
Bro,
it
so
was
if you guys want to start off with the Leeds Aston Villa game, I am absolutely
Not the game, not the game. Just Aston Villa and
okay.
Everton in terms of where they can finish and what they can do in the Premier League this year.
Yeah, so basically, if you see even the game, I'm not going to go into details, but you could see that Aston Villa are much better side than they were last year. And definitely, from what I see or what we have seen so far, they are definitely not a relegation battle team. They could definitely do better, and they did have good chances for them to kill the game, but unfortunately, they were not able to take it. And in terms of Everton, Everton has great quality, bro. Just that it's not like any team is actually having that run of games right now. If you see, everybody is in the topsy-turvy moment. So actually, they got off to a good start, and also it was a good run of games except for the Liverpool game. But other than that, their fixtures were a lot easier, I'd have to say. Of course, they did play Tottenham and Liverpool during that span of games, but about results, and I think Ancelotti make to get the best out of the team. So I feel like both teams are Everton definitely a top 10 finishing team, probably even top 6 this year. And my prediction for Aston Villa is definitely going to be I don't want to push them to a top 10, but definitely they're not going to be fighting for the relegation spots.
But that's spot on. I think you're right on with Aston Villa, because there's this one small stat that I want to mention you guys for Aston Villa. So Aston Villa right now are on 5 games played and they have 12 points, right? So in the last 8 games that they've played in the Premier League, considering the previous season 3 games, so they've gotten a total of 19 points or 18 points. That is what, in 8 games. How many points do you guys think Aston Villa had scored in the previous 26 games combined prior to the 8 games? Take a wild
16.
guess. Okay, I think you've read the stat. Narish, an idiot. That's the right number. So that's the level of improvement Aston Villa have done, and that's the reason why they're not going to be a part of the relegation battle. So, but Shashank and Narish, since he's spoken about Aston Villa, what is your take on Everton? Do you agree with Gautam that they're going to be a top 6 or a top 10?
For me, like based on what I saw at Southampton, I think it'll be a big ask for them, because they were clueless against Southampton's press, and that was something odd, like because like up until like when they played Liverpool are an even better pressing team than Southampton, and they did have some answers, but against Southampton they were like clueless, and that's the whole reason why they were overrun. So I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if there's some issue with their midfield, or whether they're missing someone like Richarlison, who's sort of their outlet and is sort of that player who likes to receive the ball and take it up against the defenders. Whether they're missing someone of that caliber. But it's Carlo Ancelotti. Ancelotti has so many years. Like his experience in the football field is more than our age. So he'll probably find out some sort of solution for Everton moving forward. But like Gautam said, I don't think they will challenge for top 6. Maybe between 7 to 10 would be their place. But let's see what Everton, what run they have in the year.
Sashank, on that topic, I just want to ask you a specific question. What do you think is better at the moment? Like for a team who's at the bottom half to just come up, get a top 6 finish, get that massive amount of money, invest and grow the club, or like how Leicester have done, they're the only team to have done it successfully. Or do you think it's better for them to finish at top 10, reinvest with 2-3 players, and organic growth? Which do you think is better right now, or what is sustainable in the current footballing world?
I think all these clubs, which are not the traditional top 6, if they can get into any of the European spots, it's a huge advantage for them. But as we know, what happened to, for example, Burnley when Roy Hodgson was in Fulham. All those times, these teams, when they qualify for Europe and then, when they get into Europe, the next season is one of their most horrid seasons. For example, Burnley, I think they had to start their season in June or something, and then they already played like 5-6 games before any other team played their first game, and so that had an effect. I think Wolves had a similar effect,
Yeah,
but
Wolves
because
several years back.
a great manager, he was able to manage it and not fall into that trap and go into the bottom half of the table where he still was battling for top six, and also he has a great score. So I think even though that the European spot is like fool's gold, it's still once you don't know how your squad is going to react, because these clubs are, again, for example, okay, maybe not Wolves but Burnley, that one time they got into the European spots, but it's not like the other teams where they're going to do it every year. So that motivation is not the same from the previous year to the next year. So I think it would be preferable if for a non-top six club to maybe finish 1 year in European spots, but then otherwise staying in the Premier League itself is such a huge bonus for these people, and there were like hundreds of millions.
And also, for example, if you see for these small clubs, right, it takes a financial toll on them too, because they are expected to invest because they are participating in an extra competition,
Correct.
or just to stay there. And also, the thing is, like, of course, you do get the whole, the TV rights money, whatsoever, being part of another competition. But the fact that, such small clubs, for example, since you were talking about Burnley, it's a club that has not been invested just to be even in the Premier League for the past few years. Ginger Mourinho, he's just like paddling the boat and making sure that he's just staying afloat, to be honest. I don't know how he's done it over these past few years, but it's unbelievable, bro.
His whole time in the Premier League, his net spend has been 67 million. It's unbelievable that you can run a club like this, and it's amazing. It's amazing what Sean Dyche, Ginger Mourinho has done, and hopefully, he can continue with Burnley for a few years. Otherwise, he will get one of the good jobs. He might not get the top six, the sexy jobs, but he might get one of the other top Premier League jobs for sure.
But on that point, since we spoke about Burnley and we brought into the picture, I think they've been at the Premier League for quite a few years now, where all of us have known them, what they can do, who the squad is. You can name 11 out of 11 players, at least 8 players. But I think it's time they also made a next push and try to come to the upper half of the bottom half, because if they continuously be in that position, it's not going to work out on the long term, because that's how most clubs are at the moment. 3-4 years, they give a manager time. You don't get there. Eventually, you go out. Or there's a change of manager and suddenly all the progress is set back to year one.
The only thing Burnley should do differently probably is invest more money. Otherwise, because if they're just being in the Premier League is a huge bonus for them. So as long as they invest and keep, because they have, I think Sean Dyche has been there for like 6 or 7 years. He's the longest serving manager. So it's a big deal right now. So we'll see how it goes. But I don't know. Burnley could get relegated this year. So we never know.
We'll see. Anyway, guys, so the final topic for this week, it's probably the only game that we've taken up to discuss on the game. Nirushan, how well were West Ham prepared for City than Pep being prepared for Moyes?
I actually was very surprised with the way West Ham played, at least in the first half, because usually when coming into these sort of games, you expect West Ham to get battered, like 4-5-0. And even like the way West Ham started the season, they got hammered 4-0, I think, by Newcastle or something like that. And you were like the first game in the season, and then you were like, okay, fine, this is going to be one of those years again for West Ham where they start and then somehow they sort of claw their way back and they finish 15th or 16th. But since then, they've like sort of grown, and defensively they've become more compact, they've become more solid. They have a plan, and the way they play, they stick to that plan. This City West Ham game was a testament to what, like the sort of plan that they have. Like, they realize, okay, we're going to stay compact and we're going to like counter attack. And all the players that they have are like tuning into that sort of philosophy. City, on the other hand, are like, they looked toothless for me, bro. Like, for the way they play, and the way they played like last year to this year is like poles apart. I don't know if it's because they're missing someone like De Bruyne, or if they have players who are like injured, because I think Aguero is out. They don't have Gabriel. And he played for the first 45 minutes, but this was the first game, I think, after a long layoff.
No, I think he's injured again.
Yeah, he's injured.
in halftime.
Okay.
But
So it's
guys,
been like in and out for Aguero.
yeah, exactly. That's how it is. So, Niroshan, like just as how you mentioned, like I don't think Pep has been able to set his team in place, get that right shape since game one. So we are seeing glimpses of them winning because any top team, if you actually take, they never really have a straight run of bad games. It's always like they pick up a win here and there because they have the quality in them no matter what. But what you see in a big team or what you would have to say is like, oh my god, this is an amazing team or this is a top 3, 4 team is the consistency that we're talking about. And this season, pretty much the top four that is considered top four in the Premier League has been so inconsistent.
We
I
have been
don't know it's
consistently
because we don't
poor.
have any preseason. What?
We have been consistently poor.
Yeah, so exactly.
Adapt to the Premier League. But then when you look at the squad depth, City have had these players for the last 1 or 2 years. The additions that they made have been in defense. It's not been in the offense. But then, like looking at their attack, they're not the City that you know them to be.
Yeah.
Like 2018-19, they've been like so good. Right now, they are a shadow of what they were in 18 and 19.
Yeah,
And
agreed. But they're also facing the same issue, right? Because injury, they almost had an injury crisis. De Bruyne was out, Aguero was out, and then he came for a couple of games, and then he's out again now. Jesus is out, so they're also having their issues. They have no striker basically now. So we can't completely go, even though they've signed a few players. Still, City are not. They don't have the full squad. De Bruyne's not fully fit yet. He's not back to his full form. He played in the Champions League game, but he should slowly be back. So I think because even in that West Ham game in Rushan, in the end, I think City had 3 chances where they could have won the game.
Yeah.
Sterling had 2 chances himself. Mahrez had 1, and usually those kind of chances City finish.
Yeah.
And a couple of years back, like you mentioned, they usually finish those games up. This time they did not. I thought that was I understand they're still toothless in terms of how they're playing. They're not dominating the game like the way they used to, and they're giving a lot more chances to the teams. But they're still pretty good now. So, I think if they win a few games, they might come back. You don't think they're going to do they might not do the 11 or 12 game winning streak, but they might win a few games here and there, right? Like 3-4
Or
games.
like all these big teams having, unfortunately, no matter what, depending on 1 or 2 players being the backbone of their teams. So it's like how Bruno is right now for United. That's the same way De Bruyne is for City. So if you're missing him for a game or two, it definitely has an effect on the entire team. A different approach.
In that season where Liverpool and City were, fighting for the title with, within a point of each other, that season they lost De Bruyne, and they still were, they managed to win games because they still had Aguero, they still had Silva, they still had prime Fernandinho. Right now, Fernandinho is off his game. Rodri is not good enough. He's not the same as Fernandinho, prime Fernandinho was, and Bernardo Silva is not good enough. Mahrez is, he's brilliant, but he doesn't win you games. The same way Foden he's a kid. So right now their squad is just like it's not the squad that was 2 years back. And on top of that, if you lose De Bruyne and Aguero, it just affects them a lot. So in the end, they have only Sterling is the only option. That's it. If Sterling does well, they win. If Sterling doesn't, they don't. So that becomes very one-dimensional attack for Pep, which is very unusual. But we're going to see how he's going to cope with it.
But based on what all of you guys are saying, I think we need to have a detailed look into City's squad now, considering what the results have been and the injuries have caused for it and everything. Because Sashank's first bet was for City to win this. The day the Premier League got over and everything happened, Sashank was like, Pep is going to go all out. He's going to spend. He's going to do it. He's going to get the Premier League back. But
I thought he was going to get Koulibaly.
well, they have enough players, but I think, like you said, they're too reliable on a few players, and when they all seem to be out at the same time, doesn't work for Pep's main plan, and he doesn't seem to have an alternate plan. But anyway, guys, we'll definitely have a detailed analysis of that going forward. So with that, I think we're done with the main topics of the episode. And finally, let's get back into our predictions. Smile for Sashank. I think he's got his result at least. So guys, to just brush you up on the results from last week. United-Chelsea game was given to Sashank. He predicted for a 2-2. He got the draw. Sashank has been predicting a lot of draws, trying to be consistent with his calls, and finally it's paid off. And
Finally.
Wolves versus Newcastle. Nurushan, you went for 2-0 to Wolves, but I think the result was 1-0 to Wolves, if I'm right.
No, 1
No,
1.
1-1.
1-1.
Is it wrong?
Oh, okay, sorry. So no points, nothing for you.
And
Cheat in the 90th minute.
yeah, man, that's the thing. And Nirushan, for 93 minutes, your at least your
Yeah.
result was correct. The prediction was correct. And, 94th minute, Fakey, very unlucky. Wolves.
And I chose Villa to beat Leeds and continue their streak, but that again didn't happen. Sashank, there's no need to laugh like that. Relax.
No, I just feel VK. No, I just feel VK should stop predicting Leeds games, bro.
Aye.
He's not got one Leeds game right.
Okay, so, but that was the question thrown at me. That these guys give it to me, not me. They asked me that. Okay,
I think we gotta consistently give him Leeds game, so he's the bottom of the table.
I don't know, I'm going to go with Leeds here after then. Okay, guys. Now, with that being said, so we will put up our history and with the total points summed up till now. Before that, for the upcoming week, we have a few games. So if things go along with this, let's continue with this. Otherwise, the Fergie time is going to be the same, but we might end up predicting different things rather than game week results. Okay. So for this upcoming game week, Sashank, do you have any particular fixture that you want, that you're confident about, that you'd like to take a call this week? That's what I'm going to do for you guys. You guys can pick your fixture and you can pick your result too. Please tell me the club names and I can give you the fixture list. Okay, I'll call it out so you can take from that. Wolves are hosting Crystal Palace. Sheffield are hosting City. Chelsea are travelling away to Burnley. Liverpool are hosting West Ham. Villa is hosting Saints, Southampton. Newcastle are welcoming Everton. United are hosting Arsenal. Spurs versus Brighton. Fulham versus West Brom. And final game, Leeds versus Leicester. Who wants what?
I'm reserving Leeds versus Leicester for weekend, so we can.
I only asked what do you want. I also get to pick what I want. What do you want?
I'll go with Spurs Brighton because I think that'll be the easiest one to predict. So, I'm going
Spurs versus Brighton. Go on.
Yes, Spurs 2-1 win that game.
Okay. Gautam?
Gautam, you're on mute, I think.
Hey guys, I was in mute.
Sorry,
By the way,
but-
I'm good. So I'm gonna pick the tough one since we've been if you see the last few episodes, we've been talking a lot of David Moyes. But if he's playing against Klopp, bro, I'm so sorry. He's gonna be a 2-1 or 3-0. Let's go with 3-0.
Hey,
3-0 Liverpool.
you're picking the opposite result to that game also.
No, bro, just because it's like, oh, okay, enough of hype for West Ham, guys. Let's go back to reality.
You say 3-1 or 3-0?
3-1.
3-1.
I thought the way you built it up, I thought you were going to say West Ham were going to win.
Honestly, I said 3-0 initially, but then I switched it to 3-1 because I forgot that Adrian is still the goalkeeper.
No. Allison is back. But
Oh, is
they
he?
don't have
Okay.
Yeah, Allison's
They
back. but-
don't have Van Dijk or Fabinho, so it's okay.
Exactly.
Narushan?
I'll go for the United
Arsenal.
Arsenal. Yeah, I think it'll be 2-0 to United.
Narushan,
Wow.
I have my reasons.
Hey,
I have my
இல்ல,
reasons. I'll
Machan,
tell you
this is what in Tamil நம்ம தான் சொல்லுவோம். I don't want to use that word. But anyway,
I have my
reverse
reasons.
psychology அப்படிப்பாங்க தெரியுமா?
bro, Narushan வந்து மோசமான பையன் bro. What he does is he always goes, gives the opponent the result, plays it safe, and then when everything happens, வந்துருவான். சட்டையை காலர்
He's
தூக்கி,
like-
hey, நான் தான் rowdy.
Yeah.
I
No,
have
it's
my
basically
reasons. I
if
have
you
my reasons.
predict the worst, they'll say always predict the worst, guys, so that even if good things happen, it'll help, it'll work out.
Bro,
So that's what he's doing.
hear me out, I gave the predictions and you're giving the reasons behind my prediction.
Because we only asked you for the prediction. Your analysis time will come later.
Hear me
Yeah.
out. The reason why I said 2-0 was one, Mike Dean is the official, and we all know how biased he is towards United. And the second thing is, I think Mustafi will play. Because of Mustafi, these two reasons, that's the reason why I'm going for a United win.
Bro.
2-0 was
Actually,
just a
his
random
reasons are
number.
very valid.
But then,
Also, it's been a long
But then-
time since Arsenal won at Old Trafford, right?
Old Trafford.
Guys,
But this is the season to break that.
but at the end of this season, we really have to give Nirushan a dedication award for his views on the games. He's gone in to even find out who the referee was for the game to decide the result.
Hey, when-
I know all of us would definitely know that once they say that this is the referee, we're going to call controversial things and all that. But even go for the result, you want to look at the referee. I really appreciate you, Nirushan.
Of course.
Also, VK, don't think you're escaping, by the way, with prediction for Leeds versus Leicester. What's happening?
Hey, I want to choose my game, da. Okay,
It's okay,
fine.
da. We chose for you, da.
I'll go against Leeds as usual, okay? No, actually, Leicester. Okay, fine. I'll go for it. 3-1 to Leeds, okay? That's my result.
I think Leicester are going to win this one.
Okay, da, but what is your analysis behind it? Point out like Nirushan. He'll be like, there is no referee in the game.
I'm just going to say, what I tell you what. Leeds are playing well. It's a home game. And Leicester, whatever you say, it's not like they were great the last game. Even they have been missing out on the form that they have shown and they can. So, and another on-the-road game for them. I don't know if they really have it in them. Let's just hope. That's what I'm saying, that it's Leeds.
Train journey, bus journey, எல்லாம் ஒழுங்கா இல்ல சொல்லுவான் போல.
Bro, அது வந்து ஓலே சொல்லுவான், நான் சொல்ல மாட்டேன். சொல்லிடுவாங்க. Okay, guys, thank you for your predictions. I think with that, we've come to the end. Another long episode. Any final words before we cut short?
No.
Okay, none.
Okay, so I think let's all save our talk to see what our predictions are and how it is. So anyway, guys, nice to see you all. And next month, viewers, we're coming up with more episodes, different stuff rather than the usual weekly episode and just the game week analysis. And thank you for watching. And if you'd like to support our channel, please subscribe and like the video. See you guys.